Recently, it's come out that I'm using a Cronus in my controller. Okay, not really. But today, I'm putting my skills to the test by giving up my custom controller and seeing if it's really better than the competition. To be clear, we're gonna be doing that by whipping out the mouse and keyboard, which I've actually not used in a serious manner for years. Then, of course, we're gonna switch back to the Expel Pro Plus controller and see which is really better. Now, to prove to you that I'm gonna be playing on mouse and keyboard, of course, we are gonna whip out the mouse and keyboard cam, which looks a little goofy, to be quite honest, but that's okay. We're gonna get absolutely freaky here, or we're gonna give it our best shot to get absolutely freaky. And it looks like we got quite a few scavengers, but I do want to keep in mind that mouse and keyboard plays a little different than controller, and we're gonna talk about some of those differences as we play with mouse and keyboard. And then when we switch to controller, I'm gonna explain the differences between those as well, and why really controller is, in my opinion, a way better input for this game specifically. Now, it changes game to game, but Call of Duty is a controller game, and we'll get into that in a little bit, but it doesn't mean you can't be good on mouse and keyboard. So let's land in.
Enemy dropping into the AO.
I can literally hear this guy, but I don't know where he is. I just looked around like crazy. Now, you're gonna notice that I maneuver, I play completely differently on mouse and keyboard than I do on controller. And you may notice I'm actually a little bit faster in some scenarios and a little bit slower in others. And that's really to come down to what's worse and what's better on controller and what's worse and what's better on mouse and keyboard. So we're gonna try and not die here. I think that guy's right below. Oh. Let's see. That guy's over there. We need to go hit this. I'm not super interested in fighting anybody, so let's go ahead and get over here.
I'm reloading. Fire solution was bad.
That guy's a weirdo.
Supply box secured. Move to the
Really not going to try and fight that, to be quite honest. I'm not super interested in it. We've got another set of people over here right below, it looked like, on that. So we're going to work our way to this. And the big thing I want to note is that mouse and keyboard is going to be worse in that close range, okay? So when I'm in close range, I'm going to play it a little different than I would on controller. On controller, I'd probably chow straight up in a lot of these scenarios. But the big thing about being on mouse and keyboard is that tracking is way more difficult because it all comes down to you. There's no aim assist, right? So in close range, am gonna struggle a little bit. Like, that's the reality of it. I think I'm gonna keep that. Got about 1,800. We know that this guy moved his vehicle a little bit. Let's keep moving. Heartbeat, nothing on heart. Let's get a little closer. And the next thing is movement. Movement is a little bit more difficult on mouse and keyboard. Before they switched to the new Omni movement system, it wasn't that bad. Honestly, it was probably better on mouse and keyboard. But moving into the new Omni movement system, the way that you can slide and dive sideways, it's much more difficult to hit everything at the same time. You have to kind of hit it with your pinky. So, like, I actually hit my shift key with my my ring finger on my left hand here. So it makes it much more difficult to do multiple things at the same time, right? In WSD, obviously you want your fingers on that at all times, so it's just way more difficult in a lot of scenarios. It's not to say it's not possible.
loadout drop headed your way.
And that is actually the advantage of mouse and keyboard, is going to be those long range, super accurate shots. So if I was on controller, I probably wouldn't be able to snap straight to a target like that, right? But in that close range, you know, you lose those engagements. So the reason I choose to play on controller is that I feel like I get in more close range engagements. And the way to get more eliminations is to be in more close range engagements. It's kind of purposeful, to be quite honest. Ah, shit. All right, well, I don't know if this guy's just AFKing right here or what. Looks like he's level 25. So because I'm shooting long range with mouse and keyboard, I'm gonna hit more shots, especially with a sniper. It's easier to stay centered. Now, one big thing on controller and mouse and keyboard is that you always want to stay around body height, right? Because if you're running around like this to see more on your screen, you'll often end up having to adjust first. You're gonna like kind of flick up to try and hit your shots off rip, and that's just not something you ever want to end up doing. It's too far. Dude, I swear.
Changing mag.
We're looking for this dude. He's gotta be in there, I think. Oh, I just saw him. Just saw a guy right there. But it is definitely a little bit easier I mean, it's a lot easier at a distance as someone that's played mouse and keyboard for a long time to hit those snipes. And that's one thing that I miss so much from playing mouse and keyboard. Right? But you'll probably notice when I'm using an SMG, I'm kind of struggling to track whenever on controller, it literally looks like I have perfect tracking.
Got enemies around. Cancel last. Moving.
Come on, peek that. Peek that, peek that, peek that.
I'm getting stitched up. Switching mags.
What a weirdo, dude. Now, the other thing that a lot of people don't realize is that the matchmaking system for Call of Duty, it's not just skill-based matchmaking. There's a lot of other determining factors when matchmaking within Call of Duty. And input is actually one of those factors. For me, it actually takes about 7 minutes to find a match. On repeat today, I've been trying to hop in with mouse and keyboard, and I keep thinking that it's broken, but it's just not. It just takes forever to find a game that has similar input for a majority of the players. So it'll look and look and look and look and look until it finally gives up and it just gives me a regular match. Now, I will note that it still takes into account the players that are, you know, using a similar input. So because of that, you'll often end up fighting more players that are cheating when you're on mouse and keyboard, which sounds crazy, but it's true. Because the players that cheat are most commonly found on mouse and keyboard. From what I've actually been told, a lot of that comes down to the fact that there's more of a premium for controller cheats, but I don't know how true that is. So I'm not gonna guarantee anything like that.
Enemy movement. Enemy trophy system active.
Damn, dude. What is going on? There's so much happening here. And I'm just kind of chilling in the center here. Oh, shit. Dude. Damn it, I tried so darn hard. That guy jump? No, I don't think so. Oh, it sounds like somebody's trying to shoot me, though. Let's try and take the top here.
Moving here.
Get a little bit of an angle.
Cancel last.
Can't really hear anything over the air conditioners. Now you'll notice that for me, I am terrified on mouse and keyboard to take those close range engagements. You know, I'm not a professional player. I don't play at that capacity on mouse and keyboard, and it might change the number of eliminations that I get. But if I'm playing with a sniper rifle, then it's going to be a little bit easier to get into those long range engagements. Now we're going to be using the exact same class setup for this as I am for a controller, and we're just going to kind of see how I do Let's see, scoreboard wise, I'm at 2,300 damage with 7 kills. So we're going to kind of compare the two. Now, in the future, what I might do is I might actually get some other pro controllers and do some comparisons as well. Now, a lot of it does come down to muscle memory, so it's not bar for bar, but a lot of features change whenever you switch to another pro controller. And hopefully, you know, AIM will be okay with me sharing a little bit of information. But a lot of people ask me, Expel, what's the difference between, you know, the DualShock Edge or the Xbox, whatever series, I don't know what the hell it's called, whatever they call it, the Xbox Pro controller, whatever it is that they use with Xbox. Like, what is the difference between yours and that? And there actually is quite a few differences, and that's the reason that I recommend the Expel Pro Plus, is because across the board, it just is better. Don't know what old boy was doing, but that's truly interesting.
Precision airstrike standing by.
How much do I have? 4,400? I'm curious if there's a guy up in the town. Oh. Nice. But I really do. I think the big thing that I love the most about mouse and keyboard is just the ability to have that initial accuracy. And it feels so good when you hit a snipe on mouse and keyboard. I don't know what it is, but something about knowing that it's all you is great. Dude, I just cannot figure that out. Nope, not doing it. Let's hit a quick reload. I am much slower, though. I am much slower. My movement on controller is way better. And it's hard to even compare the two, to be honest. But you can get really good. I mean, there's a lot of other players that adapt their controls on mouse and keyboard to hit those shots. But as you can see, I play it way more slow on mouse and keyboard. Did I see a guy cross on the left, or was that just a texture glitch? There's a gap there. I just saw it. I just saw it. I just saw it. Come on, look, 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 look.
Target area marked. You're cleared hot.
I don't think I kill him, but would be cool. Damn, that is crazy. I don't really understand why it's like that, though. What the what? Huh? Who shot me?
Swapping magazines.
Is there a train over there? Yeah, I knew it. All right, well, the train's gonna be busy. What I should have done is probably played like a mid-range weapon instead of a close-range weapon.
Hostile UAV in the area.
We're probably done a little bit better. I bet he's on that buy station.
Gas is closing in. Relocating safe zone.
Fire sale's crazy.
Buy station prices are adjusted.
I want a UAV. I really, really do. Okay. I don't think he's here.
Requesting recon at my location.
Oh, he is. I can't get off. It won't let me off. Wild. Oh boy, had so much money. There's nobody up top. We got a guy there. We got a guy there. That's nice. That is nice.
Thanks for the work. UAV overflight terminated.
Oh, I'm telling you, there's something about hitting snipes. Feels great. We're just kind of watching that over there because we are going to have to cross here. But I bet one of those guys went for the buy station. All right, let's just hit the rotation. my nervousness is that as I cross, there's probably going to be someone sniping at me because I didn't pay attention to what's on this side. We've got 10 eliminations. I mean, I don't know what my average game is on controller, but I can tell you this. In the first month of being on controller, I was able to beat my PR. In the first 6 months, I was able to double my PR. So if that doesn't immediately tell you something, I really don't know what will. Okay, not really what I was trying to do, but okie doke.
Requesting recon flyover.
So clearly there's a guy there.
Forget that.
The question is whether or not he'll be able to chow me that fast.
UAV is bingo fuel, returning to base.
Requesting recon at my location. Taking effective fire. Threats in the area.
TACOM.
Reloading.
Flying on fuel.
That guy's crossing the bridge.
Returning to tank.
Damn it. See, the issue is that on the other side, there's also a guy over there. You know what he could have done? I've just realized he could have dropped down here. Nope. Okay. Just making sure. We're good. We're good. We're good. Kind of just watching here. Know that there's a guy on the right over there somewhere. Nobody's showing up. Let's dive off. Oh, or not. Wait, what did I see? Nothing. Oh, this isn't even hit. See, that's another thing, is that sprinting door bash often doesn't work whenever you pull out your heartbeat. And it is kind of exacerbated whenever you're on mouse and keyboard for some reason. I don't know why. A lot of stuff is just much more difficult to control when you're on mouse and keyboard. I mean, it's just so very clear that this game was made for controller players, you know? Definitely just heard something shoot over there. Come on. Now, I don't know where people are, but hopefully we can find somebody soon. $11 bullets. I need to reload.
I'm reloading.
Got Deviant Pros.
Hunt them down. Gas is closing in.
Oh, I just saw him too. That was him. I didn't realize it, but it was. I looked right at that guy. Centered his ass heavy too. Can I see him? Hold on, huh? Oh. I'm telling you, I'm telling you. Oh, what's going on? Hello. Screen. My screen just went off for a split second. Come on, big ass shit, dog. My boy, I'll be missing you, feller.
All targets eliminated.
I'm hoping that guy's... He had specialist?
Precision airstrike available. Close air. Target marked.
What the... What? Specialist, sir? That's crazy.
Changing mags.
That is insane, though. I actually can't believe that guy was just holding specialist sitting inside that building, huh?
Got gas inbound. Safe zone relocated. Gulag's closed until further notice. The enemy is no longer tracking you. You lost them. Switching mags. You've got a loadout drop inbound.
Skedaddle backwards for a second. Oh. Oh, he's just sitting there too.
10 remaining. Keep pushing.
I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
You're losing ground. Moving. Reloading. Wanted the top 5.
Stupid.
Brother, you sat in a building for 8 minutes. I don't know what you want me to say.
Safe zone.
Whoo!
Supply crates are restocked. I advise you to load up now.
Not bad. If I didn't have to... Oh, somebody's looking. Somebody's looking.
Moving. Enemy movement. Cancel last. Moving here.
He's got to be in there, right? Huh. I'm telling you there's a guy in there. I'm telling you. There's always a guy in there.
Gas is inbound.
Mm-mm.
You're in the top 3. Don't let up now.
Swapping magazines.
3 players. Guy right there.
Get down. Enemy sniper. Forget that. Enemy sniper.
Just saw the guy right there.
I'm
Gas is
reloading.
inbound. Marking you safe zone.
Stand, bitch. It's unfortunate, dude. It does take a lot more for me to focus up on stuff like this. Let's move to the left a little bit and see if this guy's over here.
We're in the last two. Now finish this.
Hey, good shots, big bro. Hey, big dog. Big boy. My pimp. Kind fellow. Sir. The man, the myth, the legend.
Gas is closing in. Get to the new safe zone. You've got gas moving in.
Oh, hot damn! My God, brother. My God. Look, I'm a little shaky. I'll say that. But I just think, you know, the big thing is that obviously, it comes down to being good mentally. And so we're going to see that in the next game. And I'm going to show you what it's like to be skillful on a controller. Now, of course, this match, we're going to be diving in with our Expel Pro Plus controller. And there's going to be parts of this that kind of sound like an ad. And of course, I do love my controller. And there's a reason that I recommend it to everyone, because I really think it's about the best there is. But there's going to be sections of this that feel that way. But the big thing is I'm kind of just explaining the differences between a pro controller, a regular controller, and keyboard and mouse. So as we dive in here, we're going to focus up, kind of land exactly how we did last time, getting a scavenger done. And along the way, I'm going to explain how aim assist works. I'm going to explain why a pro controller is something you might want to look into. And I'm going to explain why I recommend things the way that I do, along with a whole slew of other things. Because the goal for me, whenever it comes to content like this, is to be as informative as physically possible. And a lot of people misinterpret that as you're selling out. And I get that. Because there's controllers that are similar, not the same, similar to the Expel Pro Plus that are like 50 bucks. And if you feel like that's something you want to do, I'm not going to hold you back. Okay. But the reason I recommend what I recommend is because I always come back to it. I actually was given this controller. The guy at Aim Controller literally reached out whenever I said I might switch to controller. He was like, hey, do you want an aim controller? At the time, I had already purchased a Scuff. I was, trying to use the Scuff a little bit, and I was having some trouble with it because I didn't really love the layout of the stuff. And there were certain things that I just didn't agree with the controller. I'd always had issues with Scuffs in the past. So I was like, yeah, sure. You know what? Here. And he sent me a code, and I built a controller exactly how I wanted it. And I got it. And I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And he never asked me to work with them. Not at any point. Never said a word. He was just like, cool, enjoy the controller. And I was like, what? So eventually I reached out because I love the controller so much. And that's how we ended up where we are now. So it never came down to someone was trying to buy me. They were trying to get me to sell out. He just offered up a controller to see if I liked it because he liked my content. And I was like, hell yeah, dude. Sounds good to me. But with that in mind, let's kind of explain a couple of things, because there's going to be times during this gameplay that I play quite differently than I do on mouse and keyboard. And I'm going to kind of explain a couple of the advantages of mouse and keyboard by default. Mouse and keyboard has a bit more accuracy at distances. Okay. Mouse and keyboard also has the ability to map your controls a little bit better, meaning that every key can be something different. And that has always been a big pain point. Right? Big pain point for a lot of people is that, switching to controller, how do I get to where I can map things the way that I want? Well, one, you can actually do that in your controller settings. I don't know exactly where it is, but in your controller settings, there's a way to go into advanced controller settings and like map each control to a different thing. I wouldn't recommend it. It doesn't work great, but you don't need to, because with the Expel Pro Plus controller, you actually get back paddles. Now, the way that I've got mine set up is that I will slide and jump, slide being bottom left and jump being bottom right, and then I will ping with the top left and top right. So the big reason that's so important is that the way that aim assist works is pretty interesting. Now, there's two kinds of aim assist. There's slow down, which is, hold on, Imagine this circle as a player. Slow down is you're moving quick, and then it'll slow down on the target, and then move quick after. Move quick, slow down on the target, move quick after. Now, I'm obviously exaggerating a bit. It doesn't full stop like what is happening here? See that aim assist, by the way? It doesn't full stop like I showed there. Brother, you're the one that was floating in forever. It doesn't full stop like I showed there, but it will just slow down. And the way that that works is only if you and the enemy are standing completely still. You're standing still, enemy's standing still. You're just turning, slow down, turning. Turning, slow down, turning. That is slow down. If you are moving and the enemy is standing still, what'll end up happening is that it will not really do too much, right? Well, okay. Your right stick won't do anything. Your left stick is what activates it there. So if you're moving, this is what's called rotational. If your enemy's standing still and you're moving, it'll actually kind of do this to the target until it falls off. And it'll do that over and over and over. If your enemy is moving and you are standing still, but you are activating your right analog stick, this stick right here, your aiming analog stick, it will actually give you a bit of rotational aim assist. The best way to get the maximum aim assist is to constantly move and to constantly use your right analog stick and to run into enemies that are also moving. That is how you maximize rotational. And so you're doing this and the enemy's doing whatever they're doing as long as they're moving, and you're maximizing rotational. Now, the funny thing is if you've ever heard of a Cronus, it's like a cheating device. It's supposed to give you better aim assist or stickier aim assist or whatever it's called. But the way that that actually works is that all it's doing is wiggling just a little bit. So it'll just do this in the center of your screen really slowly. It'll just do like a little figure 8. Now that's a little script, and what it's doing is it's just trying to activate that rotational aim assist. So instead of cheating, just fucking move. It's that simple. Just move both your analog sticks. So you can get a controller that's going to make you feel godlike. Oh. You can get a controller that'll make you feel godlike and know for a fact that it all comes down to your skill level, you know? It comes down to you just playing well. And that's what I love about it, is when I recommend a product to people, my goal is to basically give them something that will alleviate the friction that keeps them from playing at their fullest potential. And a lot of people are going to be upset and they're going to say, all right, well, you're on PC, I'm on PS5. Yeah, I mean, that is friction that keeps you from playing at your best, but it doesn't mean that I have an advantage. It just means that you have a disadvantage, you know? And I'm not saying to use that to get a participation trophy, because at the end of the day, you know, there's plenty of people that exist that play on PS5 that I get slammed by every single day. But it doesn't change that there's certain things that you can do to alleviate that friction. The first thing I'm always going to recommend is getting a better controller. The second thing is going to be getting better audio. And the third thing is going to be getting a better monitor. Those three things will change the way you play. When you put those three things together, even if you're on a PS5 or even a PS4, if you're still back there. Huh?
Requesting recon flyover.
Even if you're on a PS5 or a PS4, when you get those things, it's gonna alleviate that friction. It's gonna remove that friction. And then obviously your last thing will be getting a more powerful system, getting something like a PC so that you can fully relieve it. This sounds like I'm trying to explain to you how to beat off somebody. It's crazy. Realistically, I just, you know, that's why I recommend the products that I do. That's why I say, hey, you know, check out expel.gg, check out the gear that we have, check out the controllers that we have, because I'm trying to help you improve. Now, if you want to use something like a $50 controller, no one's going to stop you. If you feel like there's a controller that's better, I'm not going to be like, how dare you? I can't believe you'd say this is better, this, that, or the other thing. But there's some people that are like, you're scamming people by trying to sell a controller that's only worth this amount. It's like, well, it's not worth that amount. It's worth way more than that amount. Oh, wasn't expecting that. It's worth way more than that amount. Because off rip, a PS5 controller is like $70 or $80 or something like that. And then they add in the modifications. The labor costs money. The parts themselves cost money. Stuff like that. So when you use code Expel on a $350 controller and they're knocking it down to $209, I mean, you're killing their profit margin. Like, realistically. But obviously the goal at the end of the day is to produce so many that the profit still goes up, you know? Like, that's kind of how that works. So that's why we're able to run these codes at such a high number. So we get a guy in here, clearly on the roof. Just standing still, which is wild to me.
Got enemies around.
But yeah, I mean, I hope that people understand I'm only recommending products because they work best for me. And I've done a lot of testing. I've wasted tens of thousands of dollars over the course of me making content on things that were trash or didn't really get the job done. And there's always that middle ground, but I'm one of those people where it's like, I'd rather spend the money up front for a product that I know is going to work long term than to spend less money on a shittier product that'll only work for a short amount of time. So that's why a lot of the things that I recommend will often cost more up front, but will do a better job. Very clearly a better job, actually, in most scenarios. What? Am I like legally blind and stupid? Saw it. Micro movement. That micro movement? Oh my God. So that's, that right there is playing in 4K. I saw his head bobble for a split second. That is playing in 4K. That's what that was. And that's what I'm talking about removing that friction. I play on a 4K monitor. I have it on my my website if you want to check it out. But I play on a 4K monitor. It's 27 inch. I'm about 2 feet from the monitor, maybe. Yeah, about 2 feet, I would say, from the monitor. So I can see stuff like that because I'm looking for the most minute details in movement. A lot of people are like, how did you see this? How did you see that? But if you put it in 4K, you slow it down, you zoom in, you're probably going to see it as well. Now, I will say YouTube processing kind of kicks your ass sometimes, but most of the time it's fine. Now, we haven't even really touched a vehicle this game.
Enemy movement.
Huh. That guy's sitting in a building. Got guys right there. Let's go ahead and hit a reload on this HDR while we're moving.
Moving. Forget that.
Priority tasking request received. UAV exiting AO.
Sir? Sir? Hello, sir? Above you. Look up. Look up. Look up. I'm above you, big dog.
Care package on standby.
Now we know that there was another guy because I marked him over here. So a lot of, obviously, if you're bad at the game, a controller's not going to make you better, right? I just want to be very clear about that. Don't grab it and think you're going to improve instantly. Well, actually, you probably will improve within about 2 weeks if you have something with back paddles. Like, if you're going from a controller without back paddles and then you memorize how to utilize back paddles, you'll immediately start hitting your shots more because obviously the goal is to... is to keep you moving and jumping and sliding without having to take your right thumb off the right analog stick so that you can constantly also aim. So that's why I think it'll probably help you quite a bit off rip. But if you already have a back paddle controller, you know, don't feel the need to upgrade. Eventually what I'll probably do is I'll do a video explaining the differences between the DualShock DualSense Edge or whatever. This guy's gonna kill me, by the way. Yep. That was great shots, my guys. That was great shots. I was not expecting that. Eventually I'll do a video like that because there's definitely some big differences, especially with these TMR sticks that are on here. Because the big thing that I've heard on repeat is that people hate with the DualSense Edge that you have to constantly replace the thumbsticks, not the thumbsticks, but the analog sticks, because they will just go out. They'll get stick drift like a mother. So I don't know, to each their own on that. But as you can see, I'm at a 0 dead zone right now. And it's not moving, right? So that's TMR for you. But sometimes you have to calibrate these whenever you get them out of the box. That's kind of the big thing.
Success means redeployment.
And if you ever have any questions about that, we've got a controller help section on the web or on the Discord, in the Discord. There is no way. Level 19 almost whipped my asshole. Almost whipped my asshole. All right, so we're getting a little later in the game. Let's kind of lock in a little bit. I got 12 eliminations. We'd probably get quite a few more if I play my cards right. I don't really love this area of the map. My question is whether or not I can kind of hit this. We got a car right there, so I'm guessing no one's going to be here. I don't know if I have... Okay, smoke. Got 4 plates out of that. And of course, there could be a guy right there.
An enemy squad is hunting you. Stay sharp.
Get in the car.
Changing mags.
That's tough. There's a lot going on. I don't want to get sniped in the middle of this. That guy's probably going to dip indefinitely, to be honest. There's really nothing good out here. I was hoping for like a bounty or something like that, right? But it just doesn't exist. Now, thinking about places where players are going to be, what I like to do is if I know someone's going to be like in a specific area, I'll try my best to kind of center where I think they're going to be. Because the earlier you can get on target, the better it's going to be. Now, thinking about rotational aim assist, right? What we learned earlier about how that works. When it comes to rotational aim assist, there's literally a guy here. So look, you see how Talk. You see how it pops up on the screen that I'm talking? That only happens whenever there's a player close enough. Like right there. So a player close enough will activate your proximity chat if you keep your mic open, which I kind of tend to use in solos as kind of my high alert, right? It's pretty useful, to be honest. That guy might actually hit his shot here. He's probably going to jump after that, to be honest.
Target area marked. You're cleared hot.
If I were him, I'd jump. Oh, he's dead. Yep. Now, he got sniped from the left over here. So we do kind of want to figure out who would have shot at him. It would have probably been like here. Now, speaking about aim assist, like I said, say I hear a guy and he's coming that way. And I know that I can like hear him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and track where I think he's coming through the wall. And the reason why isn't because I'm cheating. If I hear him, I want to activate that rotational aim assist. So I'm sitting here like this. Neither of my thumbs are on the analog stick. If I do that and he just runs out, he's going to pass right by. But if I'm moving with him, then my rotational will actually pick up because he's moving. So that's why I'll often track people through walls. Isn't necessarily because I see them. It's because I hear them enough to where I can do that. So I do have bird's eye on this class. So let me go ahead and get a UAV so that we can make a cross. Yeah, we got a couple of guys, one there, one there.
Gas closing in.
So what I can do is I can utilize that information to position myself a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate over and hopefully get to the yellow building, which is where this guy is now.
SATCOM, we're flying on fumes. UAV returning to tank.
So you see how I constantly kind of try and track on that guy? And again, it's because if he jumps out or he chows in a specific way, I want to be able to take that challenge, right?
Changing mag.
High value target located. Bring 'em
Sorry, this
down.
is killing me. The freaking software update on my freaking my streaming PC, my recording PC. I don't know what to call it. Now, obviously, being able to hit your shots comes with time, right? Like, that's what it'll realistically come down to. Being able to manage your aim. What? That comes with time, so don't think you're going to immediately improve. Also, we're probably going to lose this game because that guy said somebody's teaming.
Gas moving in. New
Hate
safe
that
zone
one.
located. No more fighting in the gulag. Friendly loadout drops on the way.
We don't have anything. I'm going to go ahead and open mic. So just in case if somebody's nearby, we're going to hear him. Or we're not going to hear him, but I'll see it under my hand cam. World Series of Warzone Top 500 is tough. Check heartbeat. So probably a guy probably like right there. Maybe up top. Not up top. Oh. You see him rotating. So he's got a nice little rotation. What we want to do... Ooh.
Swapping magazine.
And by the way, if you ever think that I'm cheating, you can literally watch on Expel Plus my finger movements in every single video. I do hand cams over there every single day.
Only 10 left.
Like, unless it's like a new weapon or something like that, where I'm just focused on the new weapon, I'll often do it because it's kind of the best advertisement for the Expel Pro Plus, right? And we're on 16. We've already broken the eliminations.
Hostile UAV in the area.
The eliminations that we had on the mouse and keyboard gameplay. So if it doesn't tell you that you can get more eliminations on controller than you can on mouse and keyboard, and I've been half-assing this whole game, you know, because I've been so focused on trying to explain everything.
Reloading.
Shit.
Eyes up. This sector's hot.
Shit. Positionally, this is not it.
You've got gas inbound. Safe zone relocated.
I gotta back up.
Enemy UAV overhead.
Switching mags.
Good shot, my guy. Good hit. Good hit. Strike one, TTV.
4 remaining.
Guy's kind of a psycho for challenging that, though. What the what? What are you doing, buddy?
Swapping magazines.
So now it just comes down to positioning, right? Positioning, map awareness. Because realistically...
Coming LDBR.
was our guy. Now, when someone pops something, they, like a precision or a cluster, what'll end up happening is it'll show them on the map for a split second. Also, this guy's fighting a guy down here, so I know that it's gonna be the last two players. Look at that. Look at that. Do we give it to him? Yo, yo!
Gas is closing in.
Hey, brother, you want the win? Hey, buddy. Buddy, you have a mic? Pal? You want the win?
Attack me! Finally, back at full strength. Throwing smoke! Changing magazines.
He was level 10. That's tough. All right, ladies, for the record, we are not in casual solos. I don't know how to pull it up. I'm trying. See, Battle Royale solos. Anyway, hopefully that explains. If y'all are in the market for a controller, of course you can go get the Expel Pro Plus or get whatever you want. The Expel Pro Plus, in my opinion, is just the best controller there is. And use code Expel to knock off like 140 bucks. All right? Anyway, have a great day. I love you.